You're not going to believe this. Just when you thought the love and hip-hop world had already given us every kind of betrayal, heartbreak, and backstabbing imaginable, boom, a whole new storm has hit the scene. And this one? Oh, it's messy. Real messy. Word on the street and all over social media is that Kirk Frost has done the unthinkable. The longtime love and hip-hop Atlanta star and controversy magnet allegedly just dropped a bomb so big it's shaken the very foundation of another fan-favorite couple, Yandy Smith and Mendeecees Harris. Sources say Kirk has come forward with claims that Yandy was involved in an affair, a secret fling that supposedly happened before got out of prison. But here's the kicker. Kirk didn't just talk. He allegedly came with video proof. Yep, you heard that right. A clip that, according to insiders, shows Yandy spending a suspiciously intimate night with another man. And now Mendeecees is losing his mind. The Harris household, once seen as one of the more solid couples in the reality TV universe, is reportedly in complete chaos. One minute they're posting cute couple pics on Instagram. The next, Mendeecees is said to be screaming in disbelief, confronting Yandy with rage in his eyes and a phone in his hand. And the clip, it's allegedly going around in private circles, but no one's willing to post it yet. Is Kirk stirring the pot for revenge, or did he genuinely believe the truth needed to come out? And Yandy, who's always maintained her image as loyal and ride or die, is now being called out like never before. Fans are divided. The industry is buzzing, and inside the Frost hair circle, trust is disintegrating fast. This isn't just a rumor. This is a firestorm, and everybody's watching to see who gets burned next. Stick around because the tea is just starting to spill. It started with a dinner. A simple, quiet dinner meant to celebrate Kirk and Rasheeda's anniversary. Close friends were invited, a few industry folks, and of course, Yandy and Mendeecees. They arrived hand in hand, dressed sharp, putting on the usual show of togetherness for the cameras and the crowd. Laughter echoed through the room. Champagne flowed and everything seemed picture perfect until Kirk pulled out his phone. Some people thought he was just sharing a funny video or some old throwback clip. But as the screen lit up, Kirk's expression changed. His usual smug grin tightened into something colder, calculated. He leaned toward Mendeecees and almost too casually whispered, "Check this out." And what Mendeecees saw made the air in the room shift. The video wasn't long. Maybe 30 seconds, but that was enough. It showed Yandy in a hotel room, dim lights wrapped in what looked like a robe. And she wasn't alone. A man whose face was just out of frame could be heard laughing. They were close, way too close. And that's all it took. Mendeecees froze. His smile dropped instantly. Rasheeda noticed first. She reached for Kirk's arm like she already knew he was up to something. But it was too late. The damage had been done. Kirk slipped the phone back into his pocket and turned his attention to the food like nothing had happened. But Mendeecees, he was boiling. Nobody else saw the clip. Not yet. Kirk made sure of that. But Mendeecees was rattled. The rest of the night, he barely spoke. Yandy kept asking what was wrong, her voice getting sharper each time he ignored her. And Kirk, he just sat back, watching it all play out like a man who'd lit a match and was now waiting for the fire to spread. The next day, the internet didn't know anything yet. No blogs, no leaks, just a few whispers between those who were there. But something had shifted. Mendeecees started moving differently. He wasn't posting. He wasn't calling. He left the house early, came back late, and Yandy was starting to feel it. She tried asking him directly. He dodged. She tried checking his phone. He changed his password. The energy in their home turned cold. She even reached out to Rasheeda, hoping to get answers. But Rasheeda was vague, uncomfortable. She just said Kirk had been acting strange too. Then came the moment no one expected. During a casual brunch with a few mutual friends, Kirk let it slip, loud enough for everyone at the table to hear. If Yandy wants to play innocent, maybe we should all watch the full video and see how loyal she really is. You could hear a fork hit the plate. Jaws dropped. And in that second, the private rumor turned into a public storm. Someone from that table recorded the comment and it ended up online within hours. Bloggers picked it up immediately. The hashtags were everywhere. Yandy exposed hashtag, Kirk leaked it. Hashtag Mendeecees knows. And then the pressure began to build. Fans started digging. They found timestamps, matched outfits, even claimed they identified the hotel from the background in the video. Theories flew around like wildfire. Some said it was from a time when Mendeecees was still locked up. Others claimed it was recent and that Yandy had been playing two sides all along. Meanwhile, Yandy was losing control. Her DMs flooded. Her comment sections turned toxic, and she still hadn't seen the full video. She begged Mendeecees to show her. He wouldn't. She messaged Kirk. No response. Even Rasheeda was silent now, like she didn't want to get dragged into it deeper. Mendeecees, usually the calm one, wasn't holding it together. Those close to him said he was snapping at producers, canceling shoots, walking off set during filming. He even refused to attend a major cast event, saying he didn't want to be in the same room as liars. But here's where it twisted even further. Someone, maybe out of spite, or maybe for clout, leaked a blurry screenshot from the video Kirk had shown. It wasn't crystal clear, but it was enough to reignite the drama tenfold. The robe Yandy was wearing, unmistakably hers. The background matched a hotel she'd tagged months ago on a wellness trip. People started piecing things together. Influencers and gossip pages posted city-beside comparisons, debating whether it proved anything or not. But the damage was done. Mendeecees saw confirmation in everything, even if the truth was still murky. What hurt more was that Yandy wasn't even sure what she was defending anymore. She kept saying, if that's from my wellness trip, I was alone. But the video told a different story. Her voice soft and laughing, heard clearly in the background, and a man's silhouette. Just enough to make people ask questions. Then came the confrontation. It wasn't public. It wasn't filmed. But word got out. Mendeecees finally sat Yandy down and asked her straight. Is there anything you need to tell me? She swore up and down that she hadn't done anything wrong, that someone was trying to sabotage them. But her eyes, they gave him pause. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe just exhaustion. He walked out that night, not slamming the door, not yelling, just ... silence. The house was quiet for days. Production reached out. They wanted to capture the fallout, but both sides said no. It was too raw, too real. Meanwhile, Kirk was doing interviews, not direct ones, but he was hinting, dropping vague lines like, the truth always comes out, or people love to act perfect until the lights go off. And every time he posted, people filled the comments asking if he had more video, more proof, more dirt. Rita stayed mostly quiet. But during a boutique event, someone overheard her say, Kirk needs to stop playing God. He's going to burn down more than just their marriage. And maybe she was right. Because the more Kirk played this game, the more it all spiraled. Yandy stopped showing up to events. Mendeecees moved into a rental, and the family once seen as a pillar on the show was unraveling in front of everyone. Fans were torn. Some blamed Yandy, accusing her of living a double life. Others blamed Kirk, calling him a snake with a grudge. And some just wanted the full video to leak so they could judge for themselves. But the video never fully surfaced. Only pieces, only whispers, and Kirk. He was enjoying the chaos more than anyone expected. Days turned into weeks, and the tension didn't cool, it thickened. The silence between Mendeecees and Yandy wasn't just uncomfortable anymore. It was hostile. Every corner of their home felt cold. Every exchange clipped. The trust that once held them together was hanging by a thread, fraying faster with every unanswered question. And Kirk was feeding the fire without ever lifting a match on social media. Kirk began dropping more cryptic posts. Old pictures of himself and Mendeecees with vague captions like, "Not everyone in your circle is solid, and loyalty gets tested when the lights are off." Every post stirred speculation. Fans flooded the comments demanding answers, tagging Yandy, asking her to speak up, but she stayed silent. Every time she thought about speaking out, she hesitated. What if the video really showed something she couldn't explain? What if even she didn't remember it the way others now saw it? The pressure became too much to ignore when producers from the show reached out privately with a proposal. They wanted to sit Kirk, Yandy, and Mendeecees down on camera. Raw, unfiltered, no cuts. The team promised it would be confidential at first, just to clear the air. Yandy refused at first, but then Mendeecees agreed. Not for the show, not for Kirk, but because he wanted the truth to come out. All of it. Kirk. But because he wanted the truth to come out. All of it. The meeting happened at a private Mendeecees started it. He asked Kirk straight up, why? Why now? Why like this? Kirk leaned back, crossed his arms and said, because I'm tired of pretending people are better than they are. She's not who you think she is, man. Yandy's voice cracked the moment she spoke. You don't know me like that, Kirk. Whatever you think you have, you're twisting it. Kirk pulled out his phone again, held it up like it was a sword, and said, you sure about that? But this time, he didn't play the clip. He just stared at her. The silence screamed louder than any footage could. Mendeecees finally broke. He stood up, pacing, running a hand down his face. His voice was low, angry. If you've got something to show me, show it. If not, stop playing games with my life. Kirk nodded slowly. All right then. He pressed play. The video was longer than the one at dinner. Clearer too. It showed Yandy entering a hotel room. She was smiling, relaxed. She greeted someone off-screen. You couldn't see his face, but you could hear his voice. Low, flirty, familiar. They talked, they joked. Then Yandy sat on the bed, still laughing. The video cut there. Men stood frozen, jaw tight, eyes burning. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He just looked at her. Yandy, now trembling, said softly, that was from a trip 2 years ago. It wasn't like that. We were shooting content for a campaign. It was a team thing. I told you about that trip. But Mendeecees wasn't convinced. He stared at Kirk. Who sent you this? Kirk shrugged. Doesn't matter. Truth finds its way out. And that was it. He stood up and walked out, leaving behind a mess that was only getting worse. After that meeting, the energy online exploded. Fans speculated wildly. Screenshots from the footage started appearing. Someone had leaked snippets. Blogs ran headlines that screamed betrayal. Influencers made hour-long breakdowns of the body language in the clip. Was she lying? Was Kirk manipulating the truth? Did Mendeecees already know deep down? Meanwhile, Yandy tried to do damage control. She posted a video, voice shaking, explaining her side. She admitted being in that hotel room, but denied anything inappropriate happened. She said people were weaponizing something innocent, twisting it for attention. She even hinted at legal action, warning that continuing to share the clip would have consequences. But the comment section wasn't kind. People called her defensive, fake, manipulative. Some defended her, pointing out how Kirk had a history of stirring the pot. But the majority, they weren't buying it. The tide had turned. Mendeecees, for his part, disappeared from public view. No posts, no statements. He stopped showing up at events, skipped press runs, and even backed out of a scheduled interview with a major outlet. His silence spoke louder than any denial could. Behind the scenes, things were falling apart. Yandy's team tried to do damage control, pitching interviews and sit-downs to reshape the narrative. But producers were hesitant. Too much heat, too much unpredictability. Sponsors pulled out. Deals got delayed. Her brand, once seen as solid and family-focused, was starting to crack under the weight of speculation. Scarcore, meanwhile, was riding the wave. He began hinting at releasing more footage, more receipts. He said in an Instagram Live, "This ain't the whole story. If y'all really want to know the truth, give it time." People couldn't tell if he was bluffing or holding back for maximum effect. Rasheeda finally broke her silence during a podcast appearance. When asked about Kirk's role in all this, she sighed deeply and said, "I told him to stop. I told him it wasn't worth it. This ain't just TV. These are real families." But he didn't listen. He never does. That clip went viral too. Fans began turning on Kirk, saying he was messy, jealous, trying to drag others down to distract from his own scandals. They reminded everyone of his cheating history, his drama with Jasmine, and how Rasheeda had stayed quiet through all of it. Now, he wanted to play moral judge, but Kirk didn't back down. He posted a cryptic story that read, "Snakes hiss louder when they're cornered." People assumed it was aimed at Yandy, maybe even Rasheeda. Nobody really knew, but it added fuel to the already raging fire. And then came the unthinkable. Mendeecees was spotted out in Atlanta with another woman. It wasn't confirmed and no faces were clearly visible, but the timing suspicious. Bloggers jumped on it. Rumors swirled that he had moved out permanently and was already seeing someone new. Yandy's fans came to her defense, saying if he could walk away so easily, maybe he was never fully in. Others argued she pushed him away. But most just watched, refreshed their feeds, and waited for the next twist. The truth at this point barely mattered. Perception had taken over, and the court of public opinion, it was ruthless. The damage was done, and everyone involved was bleeding from the fallout. But the story wasn't over. Not yet. Because the people who started this mess weren't finished playing. Not by a long shot. The tension across Atlanta's reality TV scene was suffocating. The fallout from Kirk's explosive reveal had transformed what began as a murmur into a full-blown media circus. The blogs were relentless. Podcasts couldn't stop dissecting every facial expression, every quote, every clipped moment from Yandy's apology video and the fans. They were locked in like it was their favorite soap opera. Only this time the heartbreak felt a little too real. Inside Yandy's home, the energy had shifted completely. Cameras were off now. No production crew buzzing around, no interviews scheduled, no assistants setting up light kits, just silence. Real, raw silence. Mendeecees had left days ago and hadn't returned. His side of the closet was noticeably emptier. His cologne gone, his toothbrush gone. And in that absence, Yandy found herself staring into a space she didn't recognize anymore. She tried calling him. No answer. She left voice notes, soft, pleading, confused. Mendeecees didn't block her, but he didn't respond either. His absence wasn't loud. It was surgical, and that made it hurt even more. Her publicist advised her to stay quiet. Let the story burn out. But how could she? Everything she had worked to build as a mother, a wife, a brand was under fire. And the worst part was, she wasn't even sure what exactly she was being accused of. If the clip Kirk had shown was all there was, then she felt violated, manipulated. If there was more, then she didn't even know her own truth anymore. Meanwhile, Kirk wasn't done. He was seen at a club just outside Midtown, sitting in a corner booth with two local bloggers. Word got out fast. Someone leaked a conversation from that night where Kirk allegedly said, "This ain't about revenge. This about accountability. People always calling me messy. Now, let's see how they handle mess." Rasheeda caught in the middle was crumbling. She wasn't defending Kirk anymore, but she wasn't attacking him either. During a pop-up for her boutique, someone asked her if she still supported her husband. She paused, smiled faintly, and said, "Support comes in different forms," and then walked away. Her eyes said more than her words ever could. Things took another unexpected turn when one of the stylists who had worked with Yandy during that wellness trip came forward on a live stream. She didn't give names, but her message was clear. Let's just say that trip was supposed to be for healing. But not everyone was there to heal. Her words were vague, but the tone was deliberate. People read between the lines. Fast theories began to evolve. Some said Yandy had gotten too close to a photographer on the trip. Others claimed the man in the video was a local trainer she had met months before. Nobody could confirm anything, but that didn't matter anymore. Speculation had become currency, and the internet was spending it freely. Yandy finally broke. Not on camera, not in a press release, but in a private call to one of the producers. She sobbed for nearly 10 minutes before she could even speak. She said she didn't recognize her life anymore. That she didn't understand how a 30-second clip could destroy everything she'd built. She begged them to help her find the original footage to prove what really happened. They tried. A production assistant was sent to reach out to the videographer from that wellness trip. He responded but said all his footage was deleted months ago during a system crash. There were no backups, no raw files, nothing to cross-reference. It was gone. Dot. And just like that, the only chance at clearing her name vanished. Mendeecees, still silent publicly, was active behind the scenes. People close to him said he'd been staying with his cousin across town, avoiding the cameras, ignoring the calls. But what caught everyone off guard was his sudden appearance at a community event. He was smiling, talking to kids, handing out backpacks. Reporters tried asking him about Yandy. He didn't flinch, just said, "I'm here for the community, not the cameras," then turned and walked off. But what people noticed most wasn't what he said. It was what he wasn't wearing. His wedding ring, gone. Dot. Kirk, sensing the moment, posted again. This time, it was a throwback picture of him, Mendeecees, and Scrappy at his studio session. The caption read, "Only real ones last." Timing is everything. Fans ate it up. They started calling Kirk the puppet master, saying he orchestrated the downfall of Yandy's image with the precision of a seasoned villain. Upgraded the downfall of Yandy's image with the precision of a seasoned villain. Some fans, however, began turning on him too. Even those who once supported his began turning on him too. Even those who once supported his bluntness now started asking why. Why would Kirk do this? Was it jealousy? Was it payback for a past slight? Rumors swirl that Yandy once blocked Kirk from securing a brand deal through VH1, or that Mendes had said something in an interview years ago that rubbed Kirk the wrong way. Nobody knew the truth, and that was the scariest part. Then, without warning, Yandy's sister stepped in. She went live on Instagram, furious. Her eyes red, her voice shaking. She said Kirk had always had it out for her family. That he'd made comments in the past about Yandy being too polished, too perfect. She accused him of holding on to that clip for months, waiting for the right time to drop it. And then she said something that stopped people. Mid-scroll. If y'all knew the kind of secrets Kirk got buried under his name, Yandy wouldn't be the one on trial right now that libs sent shockwaves. Fans began digging into Kirk's old controversies. The cheating, the Jasmine drama, even rumors that never fully came out. Suddenly, the narrative began to tilt. Maybe Kirk wasn't exposing the truth. Maybe he was just redirecting attention. Still, Mendes didn't budge. Even when asked privately about Yandy's sister's claims, he said nothing. He was focused now on what nobody knew. But people close to him said he'd started meeting with lawyers, not for divorce, but for custody discussions. Yan found out the same way everyone else did. A blogger posted a screenshot of Mendes entering a family law office. She called him immediately. "Voicemail," she texted. No response, and that was the moment it all sank in. This wasn't just a scandal anymore. It was war, and it was tearing them apart one headline at a time. The silence in Yandy's house had shifted from cold to unbearable. She wandered from room to room. Every space once filled with laughter and kids running around now felt like an echo chamber of doubt and pain. Her phone was either blowing up with alerts from blogs and gossip sites or sitting dead silent when she wished Menace would call. Nothing made sense anymore. Not her memories, not her image, and not the man who once said he'd never doubt her love. She sat on the edge of the bed they used to share, scrolling through their old pictures. Smiling vacations, anniversary dinners, quiet moments with the kids. She whispered to herself, "We were stronger than this." But even she wasn't sure if that was still true. Trust once broken doesn't shatter like glass. It dissolves slowly, one unresolved truth at a time outside her circle. The world kept spinning and the drama refused to die. Kirk, who had sparked it all, was now basking in the attention. He went live with a popular gossip blogger, dropping one vague statement after another. When asked directly if he had more clips, he smiled and said, "I ain't even pressed play on the good stuff yet." Fans flooded the comments, some begging for him to release more, others demanding he stop playing God with people's lives. Rita was quiet through all of it. Too quiet. A few insiders claimed she was fed up with Kirk's thirst for attention. She'd reportedly moved into her mother's house for space, saying she needed time to think. Her silence paired with Kirk's chaos made people wonder if his actions were finally starting to cost him more than clout. But the most dramatic shift came when Mendeecees finally broke his silence in a heartfelt post on Instagram. He shared a black and white photo of himself with his kids. No fancy captions, just 4 words. "My peace comes first." It was like a final word in a conversation he never really had with Yandy. The comments exploded. Some praised him for prioritizing his mental health. Others questioned how peace could come at the cost of a family. But the message was clear. He was stepping away. Yandy saw the post within seconds. Her hands trembled as she read the words again and again. Not one mention of her. Not one word of reconciliation. She went live minutes later, unfiltered. No glam, just tears. She spoke directly to her audience, her voice cracking. "I've made mistakes. I've trusted people I shouldn't have. And I've been silent because I was trying to protect someone who clearly didn't deserve it. What Kirk did wasn't just messy, it was malicious. And I don't care if people believe me anymore. I just want my family back." The live went viral in under an hour. Influencers began analyzing every second. Was she finally admitting something? Was she deflecting? Fans were split. Half blamed her for pushing Mendeecees away. The other half blamed Kirk for weaponizing a moment that was never meant for public eyes. But either way, the sympathy began to shift back in Yandy's favor. Then came the twist no one expected. A new video surfaced, not leaked by Kirk, but anonymously uploaded to a gossip page. It was security footage from that same wellness retreat. No sound grainy, but clear enough to show that Yandy had been in the company of multiple team members during her stay. Not just one man, the man from Kirk's clip. He wasn't a stranger. He was part of the retreat staff, seen with other guests, leading group sessions. Nothing intimate or hidden. Suddenly, the narrative cracked. Bloggers started walking back their takes. Fans began asking whether Kirk had edited the original clip to make it look worse than it was. Timelines were reanalyzed. The context shifted. What once looked like betrayal now looked like manipulation. And at the center of it all stood Kirk, silent. Suddenly, very quiet, RASE dasted a quote to her stories. "Truth doesn't need an audience. It just waits." People assumed it was about Yandy. Some thought it was about her own marriage. But either way, it hit hard. Yandy Wise shared the security footage on her profile with a caption that read, "Context matters." She didn't gloat. She didn't attack. She just let it sit there. Fans flooded the comments with apologies. Mendeecees didn't comment. He didn't like it. He didn't share it. But people noticed he followed her again. The damage, though, had been done. Their relationship wasn't what it once was. Too many wounds. Too many moments where silence screamed louder than love. But for the first time in weeks, there was a pause. Not closure, but a moment to breathe. Kirk, now under fire himself, began backpedaling in interviews. He claimed he never said Yandy cheated, only that the clip raised questions. He said he wasn't trying to hurt anyone, just share what he thought was important. But no one was buying it anymore. Even his own fans began calling him out for chasing clout at the cost of a family. Mendeecees remained mostly quiet. No statements, no more posts. But one evening, a paparazzi caught him walking into a restaurant with Yandy. They weren't holding hands. They weren't smiling, but they were talking. And for their fans, that was enough. The chaos had peaked. And now, slowly, things were starting to settle. The truth was messy, blurred, and incomplete. No one walked away clean. But maybe, just maybe, some walked away wiser. For Yandy and Mendeecees, their love had been tested publicly, painfully. And while the world waited to see whether they'd fall apart or fight through it, they had already decided. No more shows, no more statements, just them away from the noise, rebuilding whatever they could salvage. The cameras were still rolling. The audience was still watching. But the real story, that one was theirs now. And Kirk, for all his theatrics, was finally left on the outside. Watching a fire he started began to burn him back. And there you have it. A whirlwind of accusations, loyalty tested, and reputations shaken. What started as a single clip turned into one of the most chaotic chapters in the love and hip-hop universe. Kirk Frost lit the spark, but the flames burned through friendships, family bonds, and public trust. Whether you believe Kirk was exposing the truth or just playing puppet master, one thing is clear: nobody came out of this untouched. Yandy fought for her truth. Mendeecees stood firm in his silence, and the fans, they chose sides, dug deep, and watched every moment like it was their own family on the line. Some still think the story isn't over. Others believe it should have never gone this far. But in the end, the damage was done. Then what happens next is anyone's guess. So now it's your turn. What do you think really happened? Was Kirk telling the truth, or did he twist the narrative for attention? Was Yandy hiding something, or was she just another target in a messy game of ego and revenge? And do you think Mendeecees will ever fully trust her again? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear every take, every theory, and every truth you think is still hiding in the shadows. If you made it this far, make sure to hit that like button. It helps push the truth out to more people. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest drama shaking up your favorite reality shows. And if you've got your own theory or something we missed, leave it below. Who knows? Your comment might be the next headline. Until next time, stay locked in, stay sharp, and remember, in the world of reality TV, nothing is ever really as it seems. Nothing is ever really as it seems. Nothing is ever really as it seems.